It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Hey, what's going on, Lake of the Ozarks? Wild Will here at Slumberland at the Lake, joined by Uncle Chris, and it's that time for a cup of coffee from Slumberland at the Lake. And I gotta tell you, Chris, you toughed it out because I know you're not feeling good.
Got a little bit of a cold, so I might not talk quite as much as I usually do today.
So no hugs today for Uncle
No
Chris.
hugs.
So I got to figure out how to get through my day without hugging the guy. I'll figure that out. In the meantime, we're going to have John Beckett, who is the chair for the Camden County Central Republican Committee. And I don't know if you heard, but the state of Missouri allocated no funds for primaries.
I know. I heard that at church this week, and I hadn't heard anything about it. And so a lot of people, this is a big shock. You need to hear about this.
Yeah, we'll tell you all about the caucus and what that means and what that entails coming up. We also got some great local headlines. You saw Margarita was refinanced, but George Tucker, the man, the myth, the legend, he's up to it once again.
Yeah.
Big plans for a new entertainment district, plus really cool local bridge I didn't know about, is open to the public and is becoming a really great site and location for families and visitors alike. We'll tell you about that. And of course, Super Bowl week. We got predictions. We got crazy, zany facts. And we're going to talk about Patrick Mahomes cementing himself as the greatest quarterback of this era, as well as Andrew and I, we attended that Lieutenant Colonel John Carl Marks, who flew the it wasn't the stealth bomber, it was the Warthog, right?
Okay,
the A-10.
Mm-hmm.
More hours than anybody in the history of our United States military. He was at the Encore last Friday night, and Andrew and I attended that. So we'll tell you about that and a whole lot more on this week's Cup of Coffee. But first, a lot going on right here at Slumberland at the Lake.
It's one of our biggest sales of the whole year. Get a great-looking bed for just $198. Wow! Get up to 60% off list during our huge President's Sale at Slumberland Furniture. Get a gorgeous leather sofa for just $699. A Richwood dining set, just $699. A sleek sofa for just $398. You'll get the best deals, like a great-looking sectional for just $848 and free shipping. The huge President's Sale at Slumberland. Absolutely the best time to buy.
And as we welcome you back, as promised, I've got John Beckett, who is the chair for the Camden County Republican Central Committee. And John, now normally we don't have political parties or different groups on. However, it's election year, a lot's going on right now. And so for you guys here in Camden County, there's some interesting things coming up with the election. But before we get into that and give you a chance to tell people about why you want to spread the word that you're on today to spread, I want to find out what exactly is the Camden County Republican Central Committee.
The Central Committee, a lot of people don't realize that we even exist. We are the most local part of the Republican Party. We are elected. Camden County has 11 townships in it, and each township by statute has a man and a woman that is elected to represent the Republican Party for that township. And we have meetings. It's all set up in state statutes, so we are governed by that. Also, I mean, the party is a private party. It's a weird setup how it is at the state level, but we are governed by the state statute when we're elected to it, and it's 2-year terms.
2-year terms, and so you're the current chair, but you've been involved, correct?
I've been involved 14 years on the Central Committee.
So when you say that, we're the most local representation for those 11 townships, what is your guys' role and responsibility then?
The main responsibility is if we have a vacancy at the county level, we are the ones, if it is a Republican governor, we interview people to replace them and give recommendations to the governor for appointment.
Gotcha. So you guys really report directly to the state level
we do,
at times?
At times. Right.
Very good. That's a big responsibility.
It's a big responsibility. We had that happen several times over the last, 6-7 years. The auditor, we had an appointment, and then the collector, we had an appointment. So we've had several appointments, and the public administrator, we had one for that, and then we also had one for prosecutor.
Yeah.
So we've had several high-profile appointments that came through, and so that is really the main goal. And to promote the Republican Party, at the county level.
And so in Camden County, we've got the Republican Central Committee. Is there a Democrat
There
Central
is.
Committee?
Yes.
In Camden
In
County?
Camden
Okay.
County, yes, there is.
And so they do the same thing. All right, so now what I want to talk about, it's election year, and all Missouri primaries are on August 2nd. However, the presidential Missouri, what's listed as primary, is March 2nd, but I understand that that's not exactly what's taking place.
That is not what's taking place. That's why I contacted Will to see if we could talk about this. March 2nd, we're not having a primary. The money was not allocated to hold one at the state level for Democrats or Republicans. So then it comes on the Central Committee to put on a caucus. So the state GOP wrote new rules for us to hold a caucus. It's going to be held March 2nd. It starts at 10 o'clock. It's going to be in the middle school gym at the Camden schools. So it's quite a process. We're going to open the doors at 8 o'clock. You have to be a registered voter by February 19th. And then you come in, you bring your ID, voter registration card if you have it, sign a pledge, you get credentialed, and then you get in the doors to caucus. The caucus is a completely different process than we've seen. A lot of questions are surrounding that process because people like to go to the voting booth and just fill in the circle. I'm done. I did get their little sticker and they go home or go back to work. This you actually have to participate. I mean, you have to come in, nominate your nominee, whether it be President Trump or whoever that you want to see as the nominee for the Republican Party, and then you caucus. You sell your candidate to the other people in there. Once they get over 50%, then the caucus is over. So it's quite a process.
So there's not really a time limit as far as like once it begins that day until somebody gets over the 50% threshold.
Or if there's a plurality, then it goes. Then you do have a split delegation that goes to the state level. If you get to the point where everybody's deadlocked and then the chair calls for a plurality, you can stop the caucus at that moment in time. You don't really like that because you want all your delegates to go towards one person.
Yeah.
So it will. You could be there all day if the chair allows it.
Let me ask this, because this seems incredibly important, but it's also completely foreign to what the average voter, especially in Camden County, is used to. You mentioned, at this caucus, it from what I understand, doing some research, kind of hectic. It's at the precinct, county, or district level, and like you said, there can be signs, interaction, you can have speeches, and so at the end of this, the hope is that everybody's in unison and at least 50% or majority endorses one person, and they would go to the primary in August?
Actually, no. That goes to the state convention, and those delegates cast their vote for that presidential candidate. The August, it's completely separated. The August primary is mainly for the local elected officials and the state elected officials. We won't have any kind of primary for president. This is your time to participate on who you want to be on the ballot for president for the Republican Party.
Is this common historically in every 4 years in Camden County or on the state level?
It is not. We've held, I think you said you did some research. The primaries go back, my lifetime to where people would show up and have a presidential preference primary. A lot of people don't realize that the primary they participated in did not necessarily translate into that person being the party's candidate. The state party could actually go against those votes if they wanted someone else on the ballot. So this process actually, you send your delegates to the state convention, and they cast their votes at the state convention for your candidate at the county level.
Okay, now I know we're getting close on time, so I want to get one more in here, and it's twofold. John, so as the chair of the Camden County Republican Committee, I want to know, seeing it was 1973 that it went from the caucus format to the primary becoming standard in all 50 states or all however many states. So my question is, why now would they not allocate a budget? And second part of that question is, do you like having this caucus so long as you guys get the word out?
As the money allocated, that would have to be asked at the state level. I have no idea. This was thrown upon us after the session last year saying we had to have a caucus. Do I like this process? parts of me, I do like it because you have to actually come participate.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to come out and say why you support a candidate. You can't just come in and do it privately and move on. I think it opens up the door to true participation. The second thing we can do is we can offer planks up to at the state level for the GOP platform, which is part of the caucus process. So
very good. So listen, Saturday, March 2nd at the Camdenton Middle School, it is the Camden County Republican Central Committee's caucus. And give us one more time. You said the doors open at 8 and they'll close at 10, and you have to be registered in Camden County to vote by February 19th, correct?
That is correct. And if you're in line at 10 o'clock, you are allowed in. If you come at 10:01, the rules state that we have to turn you away. So get there early, get registered. There is a pre-registration website at the state GOP website, but there have been some issues with it. You don't have to pre-register. You can register at the event and come in and participate. We want everybody to show up. If you're a Republican, you have to sign a pledge that you are a Republican. It's not a closed caucus, but we are allowed to keep a list of known Democrats that we can turn away. That's a little controversial.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure it is.
but we can do it. They told us not to get stupid and don't cause a fight. So
Well, all right. Well, John, hey man, I appreciate you coming on and informing everybody. Again, you want to find out more about the Camden County Republican Central Committee, you can check them out on Facebook. Last time, that is John Beckett, the chair. Appreciate your time, my friend.
Thanks, Will. Appreciate you having us on.
What's going on, Lake Area? Wild Will with Lake TV here with Alyssa Gam and Dylan McNerney, and they're with the DMAC Impact Foundation.
That's right. We got our first annual event coming up this year. It's called Dace Jam 2024. It's going to be a 3-on-3 basketball tournament at School of the Osage High School, followed by dinner, drinks, and a silent auction at Memory Lane Events.
So this will all be in honor of those who are affected by Crohn's disease, all in honor of our brother, Dason McNerney.
It's going to be Dace Jam weekend, March 16th. Don't miss it. You can go to dmacimpact.org to sign up or find out more. All right, so as you just saw, Dace Jam weekend is going to be March 16th, going to be super awesome. Yeah. Dylan and Alyssa we had on last week, and it's official. Lake TV is having a team in the 3-on-3 tournament.
Yeah, and you're going to be a big part of that.
Yeah, we got me, we got my buddy Tyler Ward, Robbie Brewer, part of the Lake TV team, and hey, we got a fourth. Excited to announce Kobe Williams, the third all-time leading scorer in Versailles history.
Wow.
It's going to be part of that. So we're gunning for a ship, baby. I'm not going just to participate. I said it's... So Kobe, I asked him, and he goes, well, look, I think I'm going to have a track meet that day. I need to let you know tomorrow. And I said, listen, if you do, you need to drop out of school and make this 3-on-3 tournament your everything, because I'm gunning for the prize. And he goes, that sounds way more important than my degree.
Yeah, you got to keep your priorities right, you know.
So I don't know if he dropped out of school and missed his track meet, but he's going to be there. So I'm looking forward to that. And, of course, we just had John Beckett with the, Camden County Republican Central Committee. Kind of wild that they had about less than a year to prep for this, and it's different, it's new, so if you do identify as a conservative and a Republican in Camden County and you're registered to vote or plan to be, you need to be by February 19th so you can participate in this caucus on March 2nd, because out of that gathering, out of that event that day, they will select who goes on the ballot for the presidential candidate for the conservative side, Republican side, when it comes to November election. And so that is massive as far as you see what's going on with the election coming up. It's going to be a heated battle all the next 6-7 months. It's going to be crazy. Oh, yeah. So that's important for Camden County, because I do feel like our county is predominantly conservative, and so that's important for this county.
Yeah, and please spread the news. Tell people, tell your friends, because this is like coming out of nowhere. This is a big surprise. So share this video, tell people about it, because that's coming fast.
Sure. Okay, so March 2nd, yeah, and it's coming quick like you said. All right, so as we move into local headlines, I know most of the Lake of the Ozarks, they identify as Chiefs fans, so all they're thinking about is Super Bowl weekend, but man, there was some big headlines. We had to sift through like 14, narrow it down to 3 or 4. First one I thought was interesting was Margaritaville, formerly, I couldn't even
Tantera.
Right? Yeah, thank you, Tantera. It's been Margaritaville for a while, and it's actually done really well, according to this report from Lake Expo. But the announcement says the investment company that owns Margaritaville, Driftwood Capital, has secured a $60+ million refinancing of the resort. Now, it's 520 key resort located in Osage Beach. And their president of Driftwood Capital said this was interesting. The $61 million loan enables us to unlock tremendous value for our investors.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
And I thought it was interesting. They say they've increased revenue by more than 50% since turning it into Margaritaville. So it's really been doing well.
Yeah, significantly outperforming their underwriting and solidifying their belief in the lifestyle concept. It's a 5-year loan, the refinance, Chris, which will include full-term interest-only payments at a competitive interest rate. So they recently completed construction of 26 additional guest rooms, and I didn't realize that. And I didn't realize there was 523 keys or rooms or rentable spaces at Margaritaville, which is a huge blessing because one of the needs down here at the lake with the growing population of visitors and transient business, we don't have big name resorts, hotels outside of the lodge in Margaritaville. And so this was cool to see. And of course, the resort also features all kinds of amenities like the marina, golf course, indoor water park, spa, 7 dining outlets, and more than 75,000 square foot of indoor meeting space. The closing comes to the heels of Driftwood's recent $60 million refinance of another property, their Hilton in Cocoa Beach along Florida's Space Coast. And so they're looking at some of their properties that they think have huge potential. And for whatever reason, the Lake of the Ozarks has seen massive overperformance of their projection. They say, hey, let's refinance, take it to another level. And so I'd look for more press releases on, you do a lot with $60 million, right?
Yeah, well, less now than you could last week, but
well, you remember,
you would think
Osage Nation was going to build that entire casino development and entertainment district for 58 or 60 million.
Yeah.
So you could do a lot with 60 million even today, and I will be interested to see. And speaking of whether it's renovations or new, guess who's at it again?
this is so cool. George Tucker with and this isn't a little project. This is a big project down on the Strip.
Yeah, George Tucker, you go ahead and name him the ultimate restaurateur at the Lake of the Ozarks, maybe in mid-Missouri. He's at it again as he announces with Lake Expo, or on Lake Expo. A new lakefront development is coming to the Bagnell Dam Strip. Gonna have pools, games, a rooftop bar, and it's right there next to Neon Taco at the iconic location off the historic Bagnell Dam Strip right there. We see the dam and everything.
Yep.
And this is gonna be pretty cool. Now, in his interview with Expo, it's gonna be an 18,000 square foot project, and it's on track to open in May of 25, so 14 months.
Yeah, not this year, but next year. And it's got like 6 levels, right? So on the lower levels, they'll have 2 pools and some bars. Then they'll have a middle level that they're calling a social club.
Yeah, Happy's Social Club, the premium dive bar.
Yep.
And pretty cool.
And then they've got 2 upper levels, rooftop bars, right? Cocktail and appetizer bars. So it's going to be pretty massive.
But with the Happy Social Club, here's what he said. Now, when it's cold and rainy, you want to go do something, there's really not a lot to do at the lake right now. And so there's a lot of bars that are fun places, but you don't have interactive activities. So what they're going to do is they're going to have nostalgic games, pinball, old Pac-Man machines, duck pin bowling, mechanical bowl, shuffleboard. So basically an adult arcade, which is going to be great. And then you alluded to the rooftop, which will, I mean, can you imagine the views? 5 or 6 stories. You're going to be overlooking the Bagnell Dam Strip. You're going to see the lake, the dam. I mean, it's going to be special. And visitors will also be able to access this by water at the 0 mile marker, of course, or by land. And Tucker did say he is going to be adding docks and things down there to make it easier for those to access. And I love this. He's such a forward thinker. He is so good at working with others. Everything he does, he wants to do with others so they can benefit. His hope is you park there, hey, sure, maybe you have a drink, maybe you don't, but you use his docks and then you go stay on the Strip and keep your money here local. Just amazing. I wanted to say while we had this story, just how amazing George Tucker truly is, because you look at his I would say, empire of incredible restaurants. You got Neon Taco, Malted Monkey, Tucker Shuckers, my personal favorite. Paradise Tropical Restaurant and Bar, we love going there. Frankie and Louie's, love taking Brinley there. And now you're going to have this new development. And when he did Malted, Malted Monkey and the Sky Trail, that really gave the strip a lift that it hadn't had for many, many years. And in my opinion, that then encouraged and inspired further development. You remember the brick house that crossed from Casa?
Yeah.
That came after the Sky Trail and Malted Monkey. The Brick's another great family of restaurateurs. But George Tucker, between his giving to the shootout, his giving of the parking spaces to the city of Lake Ozark, he has continued to serve, to give, to invest, and build for the city of Lake Ozark, for Lake of the Ozarks as a whole, and he's up to it again. And I'm telling you, this is going to be massive. What this is going to do for the event culture around the Bagnell Dam Strip, what this is going to continue to do for visitors looking at the historic Bagnell Dam Strip is a viable, family-friendly option. If you took away George Tucker's locations off the Strip, I mean, I'm not going to say because there's amazing businesses, but if you took away George Tucker's locations off the Strip, you're going to be in a much different place.
He's really been the champion of the Strip. You know, he's kind of saved it, kept it alive, helped it grow and become bigger, and doing things like this is massive. So way to go, George, man. I'm trying to get George on the Community Spotlight show, but he's so busy, he's hard to wrangle.
This is your invite right now. Come on the Community Spotlight show ASAP. You could tell us all about this new development. And I did want to say, too, we're talking about the Strip. I mean, you have some amazing families. Like we alluded to the Bricks, of course, Mike and Alan Page, their family, all that they've done down there. The Reese family, there's a lot that's gone down to the Strip, but George Tucker has kind of taken it to a whole new level. And I'm telling you what, I'm really excited to see that. All right, so as we continue with local stories, there's an iconic lake area bridge that's open to the public. And Chris, I didn't know anything about Greens Mill Bridge, but apparently it's up and coming.
Yeah, you know, I think it's over by J Road, because this is the old bridge that used to go over the Niangua, and they've replaced the old bridge with the new J Road bridge, but they're trying to do some special things with this, and it's pretty cool, really.
Yeah, it's no longer serviceable for modern traffic, which bypasses the old bridge through the new one on Route J. But it's great for waterside picnics, family pictures, unique location for small events. It's a historic and beautiful spot that's going to continue to get better. Now, there's a Green Mills Historic Bridge, Inc., and it was formed by concerned citizens who banded together back in 2018, and the bridge became available for reuse. The bridge actually worked with MoDOT's Historic Preservation Division to take ownership in March of 23. Now, we talked about this.
I kind of remembered that,
I do too, but I didn't realize this was the bridge. Now the group has committed to MoDOT. They're going to complete their plan in 5 years, and this according to marketing coordinator Lynetta Knutson. A primary goal is to get the Green Mill Bridge on the National Register of Historic Places, and it's eligible for listing because, get this, it's one of only 4 self-anchored suspension bridges in America.
Pretty cool. And this Knutson lady got married there a couple years ago. They had some family events there. It's really going to be a cool place. Look into it because it's pretty neat.
Yeah, and they're currently drawing up the application process to get it recognized by the National Register of Historic Places. And it's a step-by-step process, and they've got big dreams and aspirations, including a courtyard with benches made out of engraved bricks, new paint for the bridge, walkways, an added fence, and a bat and butterfly habitat. So
that's
kind of
really cool. Yeah, and apparently the paint is the big expensive thing, painting that whole bridge. So they need some help with that, obviously.
And the big question is, like, how do I get there? Where is it?
Yeah.
And so access to the bridge from the water, it'll be offered as a destination for painters, photographers, and astronomers to come out where their light population. So actually, it doesn't really tell you where it's at. But the Greens Mill Bridge is the old bridge that went over the Little Niangua Arm and off of J Road. So Lake Expo did a great story on it, and I saw that, and I was like, man, you know of the swinging bridges and some of the cool things, but I did not know about the Greens Mill Bridge.
No.
So.
And I love going back and looking at old pictures of the lake, the bridges, and what the countryside looked like back in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s and what it looks like now. It's so cool, and this bridge is very neat.
So one of the coolest things that was ever constructed and built by man, I think, is a Hoover Dam.
Oh yeah, huge. Yeah.
I mean, and have you ever been there and toured that?
I've never been there.
I didn't think I was much of a history buff but the appreciation I gained going on that tour and finding out what they did back there in the 30s, where before you had the technology and the machinery, was like, I still can't make sense of it. Pretty Cool.
Pretty stunning, really.
All right, everybody watching's like, who cares about news? It's Super Bowl time, right?
That's right.
All right, so Super Bowl, we got to go over our picks again. Who we're picking with a final score and who our MVP is. So what is your final prediction for the Super Bowl?
Okay, so I think San Francisco's the better team. That doesn't mean they're going to win, but I'm going to pick San Francisco. I'm going to say final score 31-28, and my hope is that I'm wrong, and my superstition is that whenever I pick against the Chiefs, they win. So I'm hoping they win this one, but I'm taking San Francisco by 3.
And who's your MVP?
Probably, you know what, I'm going to change and say it's going to be Christian McCaffrey.
Good call.
Last week I said Brock Purdy, but I think I'm going to change that.
All right, so I like it. I think that on paper, sometimes people would consider San Fran a better team. I don't believe that. I think the Chiefs are playing their best football. I think the Chiefs win 34-20. Your MVP is going to be Isaiah Pacheco.
Wow.
Some tells me he's going to rush for darn close to or over 100 yards in the first half.
Wow.
The defense that San Fran plays, they do a great job around the line of scrimmage. However, they're going to adjust to try to slow down Mahomes. They're going to have a spy on him, and they're going to want to limit what they do. So I think there's going to be some holes, and I think Pacheco is going to exploit that defense. And I don't think Mahomes is going to have to do as much as he has historically in big games for the Chiefs. I think he plays lights out, but I think the player, Isaiah Pacheco.
So we're both going with running backs for the MVP. I hope you're right.
That's not even possible anymore. Running backs cannot even win it.
And Detroit ran pretty well against San Francisco a couple weeks ago, so I hope you're right.
Yeah, Isaiah Pacheco. All right, so what are you most and least looking forward to with Super Bowl Sunday?
Gosh, that's a good question. I don't know. I just look forward to the game. I don't care about the commercials because the commercials suck now. You know, they used to be good, not anymore. I'm just looking forward to a good game. I hope you're right, though. I hope the Chiefs win in a big enough way that we're not on our, eating our fingernails the whole game.
It won't faze me quite like that, but I am looking forward to what should be, like you said, a great game. Of course, great food. And you said commercials, and I've noticed over the last 10 years, the quality has went down so much, the prices went up so much, the quality's gotten worse. So I'm thinking this year we might be surprised. There might be some good commercials.
I hope so, because, in years past, like back and before you were born, back in the 80s and 90s and stuff, you would wait for Super Bowl for the new commercials to come out, and they were awesome. They were great. Doesn't happen so much anymore.
So I'm optimistic that this year's the year we might get some great Super Bowl commercials. So tune in to next week's Cup of Coffee as Chris and I talk about our favorite Super Bowl commercial. What I'm least looking forward to, I also want to mention, I love being with my family. We always do Super Bowl together.
You got such a great family, man.
Blessed without question. But I'm not looking forward to, from either side, the way they slide politics into the big game, and you'll see plenty of that. And I don't love the overdone media coverage, right? It's 2 weeks leading into it, it's weeks afterwards, and it's like all you see is what every person's doing and where they're at, and it's just so much. So I'm not looking forward to that, but the game itself, I'm not sure that I remember a Super Bowl that I think is going to be as competitive as I have for a while. I'm really excited about this.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope they don't overdo the Taylor Swift thing. Man, come on,
She's great, man. Fourth album of the year at the Grammys the other night. She's unbelievable.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I know you.
I wouldn't know if she had 1 or 100.
But she's a star, and she won her 4th album of the year, which is now a record, beating every other artist of all time. So anyway, Super Bowl facts and stats. How about this? The economic impact to the Southern Nevada economy projected for 24, $1.1 billion.
Wow.
16.2 million Americans making the plans to go out to a bar and grill and watch the game on Sunday. 8,082. That is the average calories in the American Super Bowl feast.
Oh, man, that's low
not
in
the
my
whole
household.
Feast, your plate or your spread between your drinks and your snacks and so that's a lot.
Not good for the diet.
So they have projected 1.45 billion chicken wings, 11.3 million pounds of potato chips, 250 million pounds of avocados purchased for guacamole, and 7,000 volunteers will be part of the Super Bowl host committee, whatever that is. Average ticket cost of the last 5 Super Bowls, $6,600. This year's lowest, $8,600 with an average ticket price $10,752. Uncle Chris has got 6 tickets.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, hey, that's going to do it for this week on Cup of Coffee. Big shout out to John Beckett for giving us some of his time. We appreciate you tuning in and watching this week's Cup of Coffee from Slumberland at the Lake. Make sure you watch this week on our Community Spotlight, the great Kathy Wiesen with FCA. Talked with Uncle Chris, and great timing for all they've got coming up. Well, that's going to do it from Slumberland at the Lake. Until next week, my friends.
You're watching Lake TV.